Hey everybody, so good to have you guys with us. We have Curtis Broome with us tonight. Super excited about that. He is still in Hong Kong and they are on a completely different time zone than us. So we're super lucky to have them with their lack of sleep and their busy schedule and all of that. So I just wanted to give a shout out to everybody that is here and thank you for coming and just respecting Curtis's time in this. And so I really appreciate you being here. We had an amazing month last month, and we are getting ready we're moving into February, which sometimes seems to be a little bit slow because it's a short month, but oh my gosh, we are starting off with a bang, and I am super, super excited about what's coming this month. So you guys are awesome.
I heard you guys had a great month last month.
Yeah. Each month just keeps getting better. We just look at what's happening, and it is fantastic. It's just
it's out of the events last year, and with the momentum you guys have, it's just fun to watch. It really is. Let me do something here real quick. I suddenly realized there's a phone that. As I told you, that originally it was going to be Lisa today, but she was up till like 4 or 5 a.m. working with people back in the U.S. and some product development. Sent me a message, said, "Hey," and I said, "Here, I'll hop in." And so let me turn off this phone so it doesn't make noise. There you go. So I'm all yours.
So anyway,
as others try, we're kind of in command central here. So as others try and call in, you may hear some back. I'll just keep deleting. Don't worry about it. I'll just keep turning stuff off.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. Totally get it. So we're just gonna kind of shoot from the hip tonight. And for those of you that know me, that's pretty much how I do things anyway. So I'm pretty comfortable with that for the most part. And so anything that we get from Curtis is going to be fantastic. So for those of you that don't know who Curtis is, he and Lisa. What?
I said no pressure.
Yeah, exactly. Curtis and Lisa are business partners. They've been in the industry for about 27 years, thereabouts. And they are 7-figure earners and very, very successful and very sought after by many, many teams. And so we are very, very blessed to be one of those teams, to be able to glean everything that we can from them. So I am excited for whatever you have to offer, Curtis.
Well, I guess particularly as everybody has come out of the holidays and is gearing up for this big run, obviously you had a great January, but when is your next event of significance? What I mean by significance is, the focus of the business is that we build, well, there's a couple of things that we've tried to focus on, but they really integrate really well together. And I guess the question really is, are you event focused? Because true success comes from understanding a few things. Number one of the primary, and I've talked about this before, one of the primary reasons, if you really want to reach that elite level, one of the primary reasons you have a desire to learn is so that you can become a great teacher of teachers. That's the long thing. You want to learn it well enough to do it, then you want to learn it well enough to be able to teach it, and then you want to learn it well enough to be able to train someone else or coach someone else to become a coach. That's a mindset. The second thing is, you have to understand that as you build larger teams, and as you build teams even getting started, and even you yourself may be starting part-time. The majority of the people in our profession worldwide are part-time. And there are some parts of the world where there's a larger percentage of people working full-time, but by and large, the majority of people in our profession are doing so part-time because they're trying to, either that's their only desire, they just want to earn that little extra, or they want to create that little extra, or they just enjoy the group of people they've become a part of. There are others who they're in a position where that's their only choice. They do have those large-scale dreams and hopes, but it's going to take some time. You're not going to go from 0 to hero overnight. That's a process. But then the third thing is, everything you do in your business, you create a mindset of building for events. It's the building for events process. And it's not just the major national convention, though you should, as you come out of one year, you're always focusing on that major event as the big milestone event, but there will be promotion events, whether it's qualifying for a cruise or a weekend getaway thing. There's the weekly calendar. There's the whether it's a local meeting that you have in an area or whether it's the webinar, whatever those webinars may be. There might be those regional events that are happening every couple of months in locations that are near enough. Even if it's that 10, 12-hour drive, it's hey, that weekend we're going to put in the effort and we're going to put forth the muscle to get there. It's maintaining that mentality that at every single moment there is something that I can present as something of significant importance, that whomever I'm speaking with senses that urgency in me, that there is something of significance they need to plug into. Because ultimately, we're looking for people who are looking, but for many folks, what they need is they need to feel as if they're in the presence of someone who's certain. Doesn't mean you have to be experienced. I can be certain that I may not know everything yet, may not even know much, but I know I am in the right place with the right people who have the knowledge and they have the expertise, that they are guiding me in a way that I know with certainty is moving me towards where I want to be so that I can have that which I've always sought. If that is something that, if you don't even believe that, then all of this is going to be very complicated for you. There's nothing about how to do something that's complicated that won't just naturally be something that you become better at if you stay engaged. The one thing we all, years ago, right out of university, college, when I got into the working world, and I was working in an environment where I was speaking to a higher level manager, said, the only thing I can't do is I can't teach people how to smile. You're either someone who smiles or you're not. And quite frankly, I can teach you everything else, but I just can't teach you to be someone who smiles, and I can't teach you to be someone who wants to truly help. Well, it's the same thing here. I can't teach you to be someone who chooses to be certain. Certainty is a choice. I just choose to believe, I choose to be certain that this, over time, if I do not quit, and if I never give in, give up, and if I truly give it my all, even if it's part-time, I truly believe that this group of people is a group of people that will help me learn and grow and be able to achieve the things that I see so many achieving. And so if you can reach a point where you can decide to be certain that if you decide you're never going to quit, if you decide you're never going to be diverted by distractions, any kind of distraction, somebody else's opinion or anything that happens, and if you decide that this is where you're going to plant your flag, you don't have to know anything. You can be brand new. You can make that decision 48 hours in, 24 hours in, just before you decide, hit submit. Many people sometimes don't make that decision ever. And that's their challenge. But if you'll make that decision, then the only thing you need to become skilled at is understanding that you have all of these tools and resources to plug people into that. And this is, I think, one of the greatest challenges for new folks. So many times we all have such a great desire to control the outcome that even if we're new and inexperienced and maybe even ill-prepared, we try to be the greatest influence in that outcome. When in fact, those who are the most successful are those who simply follow a process that works, that's proven. They do so with certainty, with personal certainty, and it just works. And the reason I say that is this. If you're certain, people feel it. If you're desperate, no matter how big your smile and how pleasant the words, they can smell it. It's obvious. The day you become certain is the day desperation leaves, because it's not about whether I succeed in the next 5 or 10 minutes. It's just that I know I will. I will leave the timing up to, the forces of the universe, because I know that over time, as I get better, my results will improve. So I'm focused entirely on myself. And then what are the things that I can do that are the simple to-dos that don't take experience? You can just say, okay, then it's like, how do you make ice? Water, ice tray, or if you don't have an automatic ice tray, what you do? Water, ice tray, old days, freezer. Not complicated. 30-second discussion. Great, just go do that. You can become a master ice sculptor later in life. Let's just make the ice cube first. And so, as everybody is beginning this year, you've had a great January. You're moving into February. You want to continue acceleration. The question is, are you doing the things that will create natural acceleration? One, are you completely certain, undeniably certain? Two, regardless of your level of expertise, regardless of your rank, regardless of your capability, are you leading by example, which is, are you following processes that are easily duplicable so that brand new people realize, oh, it's okay not to influence everybody's decision? No, that's not what you want to do. You want to follow a simple process of being straight up. I am certain that I am in a place that with this group of people, together, I can create greater results. Not overnight. It's not going to be immediate. It's not going to be earth-shattering. It's not like winning the lotto, and I just wanted the record, $500 million lotto, and I go buy 3 islands. It is an environment that I know I will succeed in. My question merely to you is, are there things that you have that you would like to see? Why don't I point you at something? And by the way, the reason it's so important now is because there is something that is going to be happening tonight, tomorrow, on Thursday, on Saturday morning at this local, where for 3 hours you can meet the team of people I'm working with, not to make a decision to do what I've chosen to do, but to therefore better understand why I'm doing what I'm doing. And if it's for you, then you can make that decision. If it's not, at least you'll understand what it is that I do. It's that kind of a thing. Everything's an event. And so if you have the mindset that, okay, I'm going into action today. I wake up today, okay, let's see, I've got to get to the job, I got to be there by 8, I've got to do this, I've got to do that, I got to remember that I've got the, kids recital and then pick them up from school at 6, but from 7 to 9 o'clock tonight, I'm completely free, and that's when I've calendared, this is my doTERRA time, and I'm going to be committed about it. Your mindset is, when I get there, what is the next event that every bit of my activity, every bit of my effort and action is focused on that event. I'm going to be focusing and driving to that. That's when you start engaging in a more efficient way, and all of a sudden you start creating better results. And so, if you go back and listen to all of that, everybody wants to know how to do things. There's not really much to it. It's actually a very simple process. Make a decision, and then create an action method that says, I will act in such a way that whatever is that next thing is what I'm trying to do. I'm reminding those who are already team members, this is where you need to be and to bring yours. Now that I've reminded you, I'm not going to try and affect that outcome. It's your choice to do it or not, but I choose now that everything that I'm doing is focusing towards that event. I want to have as many people on that call. I want to have as many people on this hangout. I want to have as many people at that training. I want to have as many people at that regional, and I want to have as many of my team members coming with me to that national event. And so it's a process of, in a sequence of always engaging that event. It's funny, I was on a call last night about 1 a.m. No, I guess it was about 12:30, maybe midnight, and I was introducing a couple of really talented people who, at least I so often do, who were doing totally separate things, but one of the issues that was facing one person, this other person would be a great expert in being able to give them the guidance. So we were just introducing a couple of great friends. But as I was sharing the story of one with the other, so to kind of introduce them, this is someone that I've learned a lot from over the years. In fact, it's somebody that so many people in our profession have learned from. And we were talking about, common shared experiences, and he shared the story that the way he got started in the profession was he knew so little about anything, because he started young enough in life. He knew so little, and he was fortunate enough, though, not to think that he knew too much about anything. He knew almost nothing about everything. And when he started in an environment where there was great talented leadership. And when he saw the presentation, all the circles going up on the board, and if I get 5 before I get 8.6 bazillion people, and but wow, you can make that much money. And so when he got involved, and they enrolled him and then they sat down to do an immediate orientation, what they call DNMO, new member orientation, the NMO right there with him. He said it was, as I look back, I was just fortunate that because I knew so little, whatever they said is exactly what I was going to do. And what they said is do nothing but get people in front of this team. That's it. They said, you want to be rich? He said, yes. Do nothing but get people in front of this team. And he said, well, how do I do that? They said, we're not exactly sure how you're going to do it. I can tell you how I do it. She can tell you how she does it. He can tell you how he does it. Here's the hard part. You're going to have to figure out, based on who you are, your personality, your style, what you are or aren't comfortable with, and whatever you're not comfortable with, what you're willing to overcome your fear about and become comfortable doing. You need to figure out what is the thing that you say that will be different than what I say, because I'm me and you're you. What is the thing that you say that in the fewest number of words will get the most number of people in front of this team to listen to what we have to say with an open mind? That's it. Don't tell them they're expected to do it. We don't expect them to do it or do anything in particular. Just what are the fewest number of words that you can say in any way you choose to say it, over the phone, meeting somebody for lunch, sending somebody, this was 28 years ago, so sending somebody a note in the mail or post, we don't care what you do. What is, you need to, the hard assignment, the complicated thing is what is the least number of words in the most effective way that you find that for you with your personality, whether it's a one-step process, two-step process, walking up to strangers on the street, we don't care, that gets the most number of people each week at this weekly meeting, each Saturday at the training, each Thursday on the conference call, what that gets the most number of people to those places to listen to those of us who are experts at this now with an open mind. That's it. He didn't do one presentation. He never explained a product. He never explained a compensation plan. He was never the authority on anything for the first year. And he made $250,000 his first year. And by then, his second year, he was the person that all the people on his team brought people to, because he had never, even though he had other things, other job things, he'd never missed a conference call. He'd never missed an evening meeting, the local meeting they had. He'd never missed a Saturday training. And all he had done was, in his own way, figure out what was the best way with confidence and certainty that he could speak the fewest number of words and get the most number of people to say, okay, sure, I'll take a look. And that was it. And at the end of the year, he knew exactly what to say, how to present. He knew, he knew the company story, the product. And so if you'll step back and break it down, if there's anything that I could share with the team as a whole, which means, and as you know, as leadership, our desire as leadership development people is the first thing is we want brand new people to be able to engage as quickly as possible with some confidence. That's it. There's nothing complex. There's nothing overwhelming. There's nothing earth-shattering. There's nothing super duper special that Lisa or I or Romy or anybody does that you can't do as well. It's that midnight last night I was reminded as I introduced two people and they started telling their backgrounds, and he shared a story. He said, because the individual that I introduced him to knew how successful he was. He said, and the question came up, what do you think was what allowed you to become successful as quickly as you did? And he said, simple. I pretended that I knew nothing, but that I was certain that if I worked with this group of people and I listened and I learned and I worked hard at improving, that I would be great and successful. I was certain of that, and then all I did was tell that story. I've met a group of people that I know that by being in their presence and working with them, they are helping me learn the things that I need to learn to be able to have complete control of my life. I'm not asking you to do what I do. I'm saying, is that something you would love to be able to have somebody do for you? And if it is, why don't you meet these folks, see if you like them the way I like them, and if you do, then you can team up with us. If not, maybe you can go find a set of folks that's good for you. Boom. Whatever it was, he said that was the concept of my message. And I became a master at getting people in front of the people who knew what they were doing. And that was it. And so that's what I would share with all of you guys as you're getting started. That's kind of where you are. What are the next? What's kind of the next sequence of events that you have upcoming?
We actually have a leadership event, the leadership event in March, and that is for silvers and above. And the exciting thing about that is there's a couple of things. One is that it's really, really powerful to get all of us together. It's so, so exciting as all of us get together. And one of the things that I noticed is my first leadership retreat that we went to, I was the only one from my team. I went with my upline. And then the next year I had a few people, and each year it gets bigger. And it's the same with convention. It's like grew significantly each year. And so it's very, very powerful to have all of those together. And one of the next biggest thing that I'm super excited about is that they're going to announce the next incentive trip. And so we're all just kind of waiting with anticipation, because that's when we kick into gear for us to be able to earn that trip. The trip to Jamaica caused a great deal of excitement. Oh my gosh, it was the most amazing thing ever. It was awesome. And we missed a lot of our team that was there, so we're all really excited to be able to help the rest of our team that wants to be there with us next year. And so I'm excited to be able to just really share what the next incentive trip is and what we need to do to get everybody there, because it's going to just rock their world.
Well, let me in fact, let me put this in a simple perspective. Now, nothing ever happens perfectly. Nothing ever builds perfectly. You know, we all draw the 5 by 5 or whatever the plan is. But I had someone share a concept with me once, and I'm not going to go into detail because you never want to take people off focus from whatever your team's doing, but I want to share with you an example of what can happen when you're truly certain. This was an individual whose background is he was a corporate execution specialist, and he was a corporate team building specialist. And he said there are 2 types of team environment. There are 2 types of group environments. Anytime you put more than one person in a room, you pretty much have a group. And if you got the wrong person in the room, they have a group all by themselves. But he said anytime you get 2 or more people together, there are 2 types of environments. He said there's what's called an oscillating, conflicting environment, or there's what's called a creating, advancing environment. And he said the reality is that the studies were mind-boggling, that in typical corporate environments, it was something like 83% or 86%, or it was 90 some odd 1% of the time, the environment actually is an oscillating, conflicting environment. And the reason is because either small-mindedness, pettiness, whatever it is, someone at a higher level is fearful of those below rising to threaten them, so they're holding them down. People below are backstabbing each other because they're just petty, and it's a not my job attitude, so I just do this, and yes, I know you're standing right there and you're falling off the cliff, and if all I did was just grab your little finger for a second, you'd be okay, but that's not my job, so I'm just going to let you fall off the cliff and go, oh well. It's that kind of a world. And so his specialty was trying to get companies to align into creating advancing alignments. And then someone said, the things you teach, I think it would work in network marketing. And so he developed a methodology of education. This was 20 years ago for network marketing, and dealt with some leaders. And to prove his point, then he went out and he actually joined a couple of programs, not to really work them, but to prove his model. And then he would turn it over to he would turn his business over to the people that he started with, because he was working with global 1,000 companies. So I mean, he was working with big giant clients. And in both cases, in 18 months, he built the position part-time with a very precision-focused effort to $25,000 a month. And in both cases, he only sponsored the exact minimum number of people that would be necessary to be able to take him to the top position, or take him to. So, in other words, if he was in a company that required, 3 active legs doing something to get to this rank, he sponsored 3 people. If he was in a company that needed 6 active legs over time with some type, he sponsored 6, and that was it in those 2 companies. And he said it was. And I said, we teach people you can't prejudge, and if you want to get 5, you may have to get 55 to find 5. He said, well, yeah, sure. He said, I understand that. He said, maybe it's just that in the position that I came from, I was so certain that I knew that if you do things things the right way, consistently, you'll achieve the right result. He said, I spent most of my time, not recruiting people. I said, why? He said, well, because I would have such in-depth conversations that when the people that I asked to look were looking, they were begging me to look. And so it just shows you there can be a different perspective. You think about that first leadership event that you went to. So here's the question for you, Romy. As you think back, what was truly your mindset before you got there? They said, here, come on in, and, what was your mind? I mean, at least you were decided to go. Congratulations. Many people don't even go, so that was good. But what was your, the old let's drop it all, and so because that's who you are, so let's be really crystal clear, cut to the chase, be raw. What truly was your mindset as you went into it?
Honestly, one of the things that that I was really struggling with before I went to leadership is that I was wondering if I was on the right team, and it wasn't that I was wondering if I was with my right initial upline. I was wondering if I was with the right big team, and so I really struggled with, am I doing this right? Have I made the right choice? I can't find the answers that I want. Everybody on other teams, there's systems, and I can't find a system, and I was in total information overload, and which caused me to doubt myself. And when I went to leadership, I got a chance to meet the rest of the team and realized I was in the exact right place that I was supposed to be. And it changed, like immediately. It changed. I went home knowing I was on the right team. We had some of the same goals. It was like the heart to serve, and it wasn't this hardcore in your face business, sign a contract, you do this or you're off my team kind of stuff like that. And so I just realized that this is good, and it just went from there. And so I left in a state of gratitude then, and knew that I was still struggling with some things, but it was going to be okay, and I was going to find my way. And that's when I became certain that I was going to quit my job. And it was 2.5 months later was I quit my job.
And that's such a great story. Here's the flip side. If you looked, you're the type of personality that when you commit, but we all have those doubts or those wonders, and when we get started. And so up to the leadership event, you said you had information overload. Were you at least attempting to attend every call that you could, go to every local meeting you could, et cetera, et cetera? But was it because of that you just had all these inputs, but they were not necessarily all in the right context? What do you think caused your information overload? Was it just because you were new and you were you wanted to be the expert immediately, or was it just that I was at least, they said plug in, so I was plugging in, but there wasn't that refinement of the perspective of everything?
Oh no, I didn't plug in because they said plug in. I did it because I wanted to do it perfect. I needed it to be the right thing for me to do. I needed to be able to find the perfect thing for me to do. So when I brought people on the team, actually what I wanted was to find the perfect system. So I would be able to get out there and say, I have this system. You really want to join me? You want to come with me? This is what
I'm perfect. So you want to?
Yeah.
Who
Totally.
wouldn't want to be perfect?
Yeah. This is what you're gonna get, and I miserably failed in that respect. I listened to calls. I still get a notification for different conference calls, and I mean yeah.
So are you saying that you went into this with a bit of a desire to be a control freak, Romy? If I talk to Mark, would that be the case, that Romy always wants to be in control?
You know what? Until this, I really didn't think that I was a control freak, and I didn't, and I really don't. I don't think that I'm a control freak to it to a certain degree, but there are certain things that when it comes to things that I do that reflect on me, then I am definitely a control freak. So that's kind of where, and I think that that stems from insecurity, honestly. I think that it's just that fear of man and fear of what people are going to think of me and all of that, and so it's more along those lines.
The reason that's such a wonderful answer is then you go into this leadership event, and all of a sudden there's this awareness that, hang on a minute, I have all this resource, it's all the right heart. In other words, when you were out there on your own, even though you were plugging in, there's nothing like that rare opportunity when you can be with so many in such a concentrated space and time, and suddenly it actually isn't more distracting because there's so many points of input with all these people. It's actually more focusing, because then you realize, oh, hang on a second, I think I can relax. The reason I wanted to ask that question, because everybody can see where you are now, and you are operating truly from a servant leader heart. It's the same experience that when I was talking with Robert last night, as he shared where he started. The fortunate thing for him was that, as he had said, he had had so little success in his life at that point, but he still had a positive attitude, thinking, hey, things will be great, don't know how, have no clue how that's going to happen, and have no clue how that's going to work out. But hang on just a second. Let me see if I can find the funny thing. Like I said, I'm sitting here at the computer, there are so many calls. Let's see, there's that one. Oh, well, we'll just ignore it. I'll just come back to you, and there we go. At some point they'll hang up. I can't find it to turn it off. But what he did was, he said, I knew so little about so much, and I knew that I knew nothing about anything, and I also knew that nobody expected anything of me, that it allowed him to mentally make it so simple. He so uncomplicated it, because he said, I didn't even know how to complicate it. So my very first presentation, I get excited. I decide I'm going to join this team. And they said, what do I do? And they said, you want to be rich? He said, yes. He said, here's what you do. And so all he did was, in his case, and so if you look at the two, just due to his circumstances, fortunately, he made a decision not to be perfect, because he just knew there was no way for him to be. So he said, but these people seem to be perfect. They seem to have this perfect thing. So if they said, just get people to look with an open mind, without expectation, and he said, they told me, most of them will say no to it. Some of them will say yes to it. That's okay. Some of those who say no will be customers. We got great products. Don't worry about it. That's not your job. And so it was kind of their commentary. It's like, we're all a team here, and we all have roles. So it's like a baseball team. You can be a pitcher, or you can be a catcher. It can't be both, unless you can either throw really slow and you can run really fast. But assuming that's not it, you got to be one or the other. So your only job is to get people to look without expectation of result. Our job is to help as many of them as possible come to a result that is the best result for them and for us together as a team. That's not your job. So your job is to have people show up and listen and learn. Our job is to do. And in today's world, of course, that can happen on an even broader scale. Back then, and when he started, he said literally it was only the physical meetings. And so there was a physical meeting at the office area every Tuesday and Thursday, and sometimes during the days, and then the Saturday meetings. But he said there was only a meeting. So when he started, we didn't even do conference calls at that time. You could do one-on-one calls with people, or three-way calls with people, but he said that was it. There was the conference call systems. It wasn't really, it was 30 years ago. And so, but he said that's all I did for that year. And so if everyone can take this and look at your business and look at where you are right now and say, my mindset is I'm going to be a next eventer. And whatever it is, there are some things beyond, meaning obviously if you've got an incentive trip, you remind that of people. That's the big picture. You've just gone through your national convention last October. Okay, next October, that's our next national convention. Let's keep that on the horizon. It's on the far horizon, but let's always remind ourselves, but right now, it is Tuesday night. On Thursday, here's the event, and this is the only thing that is important. It is my only focus. It is the only thing that dominates my part-time, my full-time, part-time. So whatever my hours are that I have, that is what I'm doing. I am full-time focused on driving as many people as I can to that. Now I know there's a Saturday thing, and I will prep for that, because all these folks, even the folks who are at Thursday, I'm going to drive them to Saturday, and everybody who didn't make it to Thursday, I'm driving them to Saturday. I know that's next, but right now, Thursday's it. It's the only thing that exists. It's the most important thing in the world, and I only have part-time, and it's only limited time, so it's got to be effective time, and that's the minute I hit Thursday evening, boom, whatever time I have, then I get all those people to do that and tell them focus and bring as many as you can, whatever however that works, and all because what happens is by doing that, it's so what happens if you never have anybody show up at these things for the first month? Okay, but you're better at talking to people and opening their minds, so they'll at least take a look. Part of it is you get better first, then results get better second. But you don't focus on results; you focus on yourself. So that is if you're at this magic moment where you've just had this great end of year, everybody had the great incentive trip, you just had this magic month, and now you're moving into this acceleration because this is the time of year after the holidays and up until when you hit June. Even into June is usually pretty good. It's the July, August kind of summer slowdown, family vacations, and then you've got that hard run in the fall. But this is that pristine time. And so you've got this, and if you can get everybody to engage in that, and if everyone will think about it, am I certain? What am I certain of? I'm in the right team. I'm in the right place. I'm with the right people. I don't need to be the superstar. What I need to do is be the superstar at, let me plug in and plug you in. Then here's the next thing we're plugging into. We're keeping these big milestones, and we're being aware, so don't forget we've got the big regional coming up in April, but it is right now on Tuesday night, and all day tomorrow, and every moment that I can, I'm driving towards that Thursday thing, or whatever that next thing is. And if the team as a team starts to do that, so the least experienced, all they're doing is just trying to create exposure. The most experienced are helping those who are there to be exposed properly, and everybody's focusing on the importance of that next thing. You'll see a natural, with this wonderful team, this incredible leadership, these extraordinary products, great company, all locked and loaded, you'll see this natural momentum build. And what's most exciting, you'll see brand new people engaging and creating successful results so fast that it just becomes a huge thrill and wonderful fun for everybody.
Yeah, I think the word team is really, for me, that's one of the big things that I focus on, and for people to, because the way that I look at it is that everybody wants to be needed and everybody wants to be involved, and it's kind of, so I kind of compare it to being in the Marine Corps. So I was in the Marine Corps, and there is that brotherhood, sisterhood kind of thing where, once you're in, you're in. And you know that wherever you go in the world, if you run across another Marine, there's a connection there. And so I kind of look at it in that way when it comes to the team and the dynamic and the relationship part that I have tried to foster in our team. We are together. And it doesn't matter what you're doing. We are here to help. We're going to come up alongside you no matter what's going on. We are together, and that's the way it is. And I feel like that when people, when they come on board and they feel like they have that feeling of belonging and feeling and knowing that they have something that they're going to be able to offer to other people, then everything else will kind of fall into place, and it doesn't seem so big to do those other actions.
Well, yeah, because it becomes it simplifies it. It doesn't complicate it. People don't have to be information overloaded. The leadership, look, we've got all this information, but it's all been filed in a way it's comfortable for us to access it. For you, don't be overwhelmed by it. Open your heart, be committed to the process, focused on the next event. Be certain that if you're just with us, you will, as happened with me, you'll go from doubt and overload and uncertainty to certainty and clarification and process. And it'll happen. And it'll happen as fast as you want it to, as fast as you can actually decide, let me unclutter and let me uncomplicate. Let me just be committed to the fact that I know I'm in the right team, and I know it's going to take some time, and I'm okay, and it's okay. Let's just go have fun and serve with an open heart. Then the rest of it all comes together. It'll be great. That's so fun to hear. Well, listen, any other questions as we wrap this up? Let's see, I was kind of looking at the question thing. No, I think we're all good there.
Yep, I think we're good.
Well, good. Well, listen.
I appreciate
was so fun to just pop. I love just popping in when we can and just having a conversation. Great to see you. Say hi to Mark for me.
I will. I will.
Yeah,
So we'll have to do it. We'll have to do a joint call and have him. We'll be together one day and just kind of chat like that. Maybe you can do like one of the things that I've noticed that's been coming up lately. So I don't know if you're aware of how, like, the majority of people that as doTERRA started to build, it was it really is a woman. In the beginning, it was a woman-focused company because it's a lot of moms, and it's oils, so that's foo-foo, and God forbid a man should come along and use an oil. But what's happening is that men are starting to see the value of not only the oils but also the business, and so there's been a lot of conversations about having the men come on board after the woman has already built the business to a pretty good degree, and so there's a learning curve there with bringing the husband and the wife together and finding their each position in the business.
Yes, it really work well in synergy.
Yeah.
So that'd be a great topic. All right, let's do that. We can knock that out next week, and really shortly. That'd be a good one. In fact, we can promote that and build for it. That'd be a good thing for the team to plug into.
Yeah.
Well, good. Then we'll do that. Well, listen, it's been fun. Have a great, everybody on that part of the world, have a great evening. We're having a great morning. We're getting started and digging in for the day, and it's always fun to spend time with you. And everybody just, go back, look through some of the previous stuff. Stay focused on just the process. You're in the right team. You're in the right place, and we'll have some fun in the weeks ahead as we keep coming back and doing this.
Great. Thanks for coming, guys. I appreciate you.
All right. Thanks. I appreciate you as well, too, and everybody else. See you guys next time.